Hey, what's going on, guys? Goose here, man. Coming back at your video. Before I get started, man, if you're new to the channel, make sure you like, subscribe, ring the bell, do all that mumbo jumbo. All right, to the Saints finalized their 53-man roster yesterday, and we'll go over it. We'll go over it as they kept, of course, they're going to keep three quarterbacks, which wasn't much of a surprise, as Derek Carr, Jameis Winston, and the rookie Jake Hayner all made the roster, that's not a surprise. Running backs. Of course, it's going to be Alvin Kamara. They're going to keep. Right now, there's four running. Well, there's three running. Well, it says three running backs, but there's four if you include Alvin Kamara. But he's on reserve suspended. So you got Kamara, Jamal Williams, Kendre Miller, and Kirk Merritt. So Kirk Merritt made the final roster spot. Not Merriweather or Darrell Williams. They both got cut. Fullbacks, we just keep one fullback. Adam Prentice. Not surprising there. Tight ends, we're keeping four tight ends. Jawan Johnson, Foster Murrow, Jimmy Graham, and they have Taysom Hill listed as a tight end, but Taysom Hill is more of a, gadget type player, not really a tight end, so to speak. That's just how they have him listed. So they ain't trying to keep four tight ends. Lucas Kroll, Jesse James, and J.P. Holtz were among the roster cuts. Six wide receivers they're going to keep: Chris Olave, Michael Thomas, Shaheed, A.T. Perry, Traquan Smith, and Keith Kirkwood. So they're running back Traquan Smith and Keith Kirkwood. It seems like every year those guys are on the team. But Lynn Bowden, Shaq Davis, Kawan Baker, and Jontre Kirkland were the roster cuts on the receiver side. Offensive tackles, they're going to keep three: Ryan Ramczyk, Trevor Penning, and Landon Young. They cut Storm Norton, Lewis Kidd, and Chuck Falaga. Offensive guards and centers, they're going to keep six of those. As guard, you got James Hurst. Center, Eric McElroy. Right guard, Cesar Ruiz. Left guard, Andreas Pete. Nick Salberti, he's another guard. And Max Garcia, center, they're going to keep him. They cut Calvin Throckmorton, Alex Filstrom, Tommy Kramer, and Mark Evans. And special teams, this was some surprising. As Blake Gilligan they're not going to keep him. Lou Headley is the punter. Blake Grupe is the kicker, which I'm okay with that. I'm really okay with Blake Grupe being the kicker, as Will Lutz was traded to the Denver Broncos, and Zach Wood is the long snapper. Let's look at the defensive ends, as we got five of those guys: Cameron Jordan, Carl Granderson, Peyton Turner, Passagnon, and Isaiah Foskey. And they cut Nico Lalos and Kyle Phillips. So not really surprised at those, especially Foskey being picked high in the second round. So they're going to keep him. Defensive tackles, you got Nathan Shepard, Kalen Saunders, Brian Breesy, and Malcolm Roach. Among the cuts were Jaron Cage, Prince Ameli, and then Jack Heflin. Linebackers, they keep five: Demario Davis, Pete Werner, Nefi Sewell, Zach Bond, which was a little surprised they kept Zach Bond. I don't really know what they see in him. And then DeMarco Jackson. They cut Jalen Smith, Anthony Orji, Rylan Connolly, Ty Summers, and Nick Anderson. Safeties, of course, they're going to keep six of those: Tyrann Mathieu, Marcus May, J.T. Gray, Lonnie Johnson, Jordan Howden, and Ugo Amadi. They're going to be your safeties. Jonathan Abram and Smoke Monday were a part of your roster cuts. Cornerbacks: Marcus Lattimore, Paulson Adebo, Alante Taylor, and Isaac Yadam. I forgot how to pronounce this guy's name. I guess I need to learn. They cut Bradley Roby, Troy Pride, Adrian Fry, and Anthony Johnson. So there's your 53-man roster. Curious to see how many of those guys that were cut they bring back on the practice squad. I'm sure they'll bring some of those guys back that were cut, and they'll put them on the practice squad just in case something happens to the players that, of course, made the team. That way, we can bring those guys in to fulfill the roster in case you need. There's injuries, because you're going to have injuries in this football team. There's always injuries in a football team, so some of those guys you are going to have to keep. But, the only guys I really, scratch my head on is Traquan Smith and Kirkwood. I mean, those guys have been on the roster for several years, and they just seem like they never really produce at a high level. Just drop balls, stuff like that. So, I mean, other than that, and maybe Blake Gillikin, but Blake Gillikin really didn't really perform well in the preseason. So that's not too surprising, but I was a little surprised that they cut him. I thought maybe they would keep him on, and then if he couldn't perform in the regular season, then they would cut Blake Gillikin. But so I'm a little surprised they cut him on the roster, on the final 53-man roster. You guys have a good one, and I'll see you guys next time. Who dat?